The little girl's scream shattered the silence of the alley. "Mummy, come and heal this man and his babies, he is dying." And when Vivienne saw the stranger collapsed in blood, twin infants clutched to his chest, she had no idea she was about to save the most dangerous creature in existence, or that he would become her salvation. Welcome to a story that will absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about love, sacrifice, and the walls we build around our hearts. Now, before we dive into this emotional journey, I need your help. My ex-boyfriend said that I am a failure and can never be successful telling stories on YouTube because nobody will subscribe to a failure's channel. Please subscribe now, let's prove him wrong. It will be a shame if what he said happens. Please help this young lady gain her confidence back, and please tell me where you are watching from right now. Drop your location in the comments because I would love to know where my amazing viewers are tuning in from and to prove to him that people around the world are watching my channel. I love you. Now back to the story. Vivienne's hands were steady as she cleaned the wound on the elderly man's arm, but her mind was elsewhere. The clinic lights hummed overhead, fluorescent and cold, casting everything in that particular shade of sterile white that made even living people look half dead. The same lights she had worked under for 7 years. The same cracked tile in the corner. The same exhaustion settling into her bones like sediment. "You are all set, Mr. Chen," she said softly, her voice carrying the practiced gentleness that came from years of healing strangers while her own wounds stayed raw. He smiled at her, the kind of weathered smile that said he saw right through her. "You work too hard, dear. A young woman like you. When do you rest?" Never, she thought. But she returned his smile, the mask she wore so well. "I rest enough." It was a lie, and they both knew it. Rest meant silence, and silence meant remembering. Remembering Daniel's laugh, the way he would spin their daughter Lily in the air before the cancer took him, before her world collapsed into before and after. 3 years gone, and still the empty side of the bed felt like an ocean she could not cross. She helped Mr. Chen to the door, locked up the clinic just after 9, and stepped into streets darker than they should be. Half the streetlights were broken. Budget cuts, the city said. She held Lily's hand tighter, feeling the fragile bones of her daughter's fingers, the most precious thing she had left. "Mummy, why is the moon so red tonight?" Lily asked, her voice bright with the kind of curiosity only a 6-year-old could muster after a long day of waiting for her mother to finish saving people. Vivienne glanced up. The moon hung low in crimson, like something out of an old story, a warning. "I do not know, sweetheart. Let's get home." But Lily stopped walking. Her small hand slipped from Vivienne's grip, and she stood frozen, staring into the alley beside the old stone church. "Lily, no, we do not go into dark places." The child ran into the shadows. Vivienne's heart lurched into her throat as she chased after her daughter, fear spiking cold and sharp. But when she rounded the corner, Lily was not in danger. She was kneeling beside it. 15 miles away, in the forest where ancient trees bowed to no one and shadows had teeth, Nikolai had felt his strength failing. The silver blade had been coated in poison. Wolfsbane and something else, something older and darker that burned through his veins like liquid fire. His enemies had planned the ambush well. 6 of them, waiting on the road as he returned from the northern territories with his children. 6 trained assassins sent by rivals who wanted his throne, who saw his twins as abominations, half-breeds born from a union that should never have been. He had killed 4 of them. Torn them apart with his bare hands, with the rage of a father and the wrath of a king. The other 2 had fled when they saw what he was truly capable of, even wounded, even dying. But the damage was done. His vision blurred as he stumbled through streets he barely recognized, the human city he had always avoided, always considered beneath him. But he had fled here knowing his enemies would not follow, knowing he would rather die among mortals than let the vampire council see him weak, see his children orphaned and defenseless. In his arms, his twins, Ilara and Demon, stirred and whimpered. 3 months old, barely aware of the world, and already fatherless if he did not find help. Their mother's face flashed in his mind, Isadora, her dark eyes closing for the last time as she whispered, "Protect them. Promise me." She had died bringing them into this world, bled out despite every healer, every spell, every desperate prayer he had never believed in until that moment. And he had sworn on her grave that nothing would harm them. That he would be enough. He had failed. His knees hit the cobblestones, and he collapsed against the alley wall, the rough brick scraping his back. Pain radiated through his chest, white-hot and consuming, his immortal body trying to heal, but the poison was winning, shutting down his systems one by one. The twins began to cry, their small voices the only sound in the world that still mattered, the only reason he was still fighting. Nikolai closed his eyes, holding them tighter. Then he heard it. A child's voice, clear as a bell in the darkness. "Mummy, come and heal this man and his babies, he is dying." Vivienne's heart stopped when she saw him. A man, tall even while crumpled against the brick wall, his body folded protectively around 2 bundles. His shirt was torn open, soaked in blood so dark it looked black under the broken streetlight. In his arms, 2 infants, wrapped in blankets that had once been white, now stained with dirt and something worse. Lily was kneeling beside him, her small hand resting on his arm like she was comforting him. "Lily, get back right now." Vivienne pulled her daughter away, every maternal instinct screaming danger even as her nurse training catalogued his injuries with clinical precision. But then she saw his face. Even dying, he was devastating. Sharp, elegant features that looked carved from marble, skin pale as moonlight, dark hair matted with sweat and blood. His eyes opened slightly, just slits, and she saw something in their depths that made her breath catch. Not menace. Desperation. "Please," he whispered, and his voice was rough, broken, accented with something ancient and unplaceable. "My children." The twins cried harder, their wails thin and hungry. Vivienne's hands moved before her mind could catch up. She knelt down, professional instinct overriding fear, reaching for his throat to check his pulse. Weak. Erratic. Wrong. She pulled back the torn fabric of his shirt and saw the wound. A deep gash across his ribs, the edges blackened and festering, spreading like rot. "We need to call an ambulance. You need a hospital." "No." His hand shot out, gripping her wrist with shocking strength for someone half dead. His eyes locked onto hers, and she saw it then. The flash of crimson in his irises. The slight elongation of his canines as he struggled to speak. "No hospitals. Please. They will take my children." The air left Vivienne's lungs. Vampire. She had heard the stories. Everyone had. The creatures that lived in the shadows, the centuries-old wars between their kind and humanity, the uneasy truce that kept them separated, the whispered warnings to never trust them, never let them close. She had never seen one. Never wanted to. And now one was dying in front of her, holding babies that could be human or could be monsters. Every instinct screamed at her to run, to grab Lily and disappear, to call the authorities and let them handle this nightmare. But then she looked at the twins. Really looked at them. Their tiny faces scrunched up and crying, fingers grasping at air. Helpless. Innocent. And she looked at him again. The way he held them even as his life bled out onto the stones. The way his arms stayed protective and gentle despite his pain. The anguish in his eyes that had nothing to do with his wounds and everything to do with the children he was failing. She knew that look. She had seen it in the mirror the night Daniel died, when she realized Lily would grow up without a father. "Mummy," Lily whispered, tugging her sleeve. "We have to help them. Please. They need you." Vivienne closed her eyes. Took a breath. made a choice that would change absolutely everything. My apartment is 2 blocks from here. Can you walk if I help you? Relief flooded his face, and something else. Surprise. Like he had expected her to leave him there to die. I can try. Now I need to pause here because I have to know something, and I truly want to hear from you. Have you ever made a choice that terrified you but felt right in your very soul? A moment where your head screamed no but your heart whispered yes. Drop a comment right now and tell me where you are watching this from. I would absolutely love to know what corner of the world you are in as Vivienne makes the most dangerous decision of her life. Are you team save him or team run? Tell me below. Getting him up the stairs was nearly impossible. Nikolai's weight against her shoulder, one arm wrapped around her neck, his blood soaking into her scrubs, the twins somehow balanced in his other arm because he refused to let her carry them. Stubborn even while dying. Lily ran ahead, unlocking the apartment door with the key Vivienne kept on a chain around her daughter's neck for emergencies. This was not the kind of emergency she had ever imagined. They stumbled through the doorway, and Vivienne kicked it shut behind them, guiding him toward the couch. He collapsed onto it with a sound that was half growl, half gasp, his body trembling with the effort of staying conscious. Lay the babies down, Vivienne commanded, her voice shifting into the tone she used in the clinic when someone's life hung by a thread. Firm. Steady. No room for argument. He hesitated, looking down at the twins like letting them go meant surrendering the last piece of himself. I am a nurse. I cannot help you if you do not trust me. Please. Their eyes met, and something passed between them in that moment. An understanding. A fragile, desperate bridge across an impossible divide. Slowly, Nikolai placed the twins on the cushion beside him, his hands shaking as he released them. The moment they left his arms, his strength seemed to collapse entirely. He fell back against the couch, eyes closing, chest barely rising. Vivienne moved fast. She grabbed her medical bag from the closet, the one she kept stocked for house calls she rarely made anymore, and knelt beside him. Lily hovered nearby, her eyes wide and frightened but determined. Lily, baby, I need you to get me towels from the bathroom, the clean ones, and a bowl of warm water. Can you do that? Her daughter nodded and disappeared down the hall. Vivienne pulled back the remains of his shirt, exposing the full extent of the damage. The wound was worse than she thought. Deep enough to see bone, the edges blackened with infection or poison, spreading dark veins across his pale skin like cracks in porcelain. It should have killed him already. Would have killed any human within minutes. But he was still breathing. She pressed gauze against the wound, applying pressure, and his eyes shot open. Crimson now, fully crimson, glowing faintly in the dim light of her apartment. His hand caught her wrist again, not threatening, but desperate. It was silver, he rasped. Coated in wolfsbane. You cannot heal this with human medicine. Then what do I use? She did not pull away, did not flinch from those inhuman eyes. Tell me what you need. His gaze searched her face, confusion flickering through the pain. Why are you helping me? You know what I am. Vivienne looked at the twins, their crying finally quieting as they sensed their father nearby. Then back at him. Because those babies need their father. And because no one should die alone on cold stones when there is someone who can help. Something broke in his expression. The hardness, the walls, the centuries of keeping the world at arm's length. For just a moment, he looked vulnerable. Lost. Human. My name is Nikolai, he whispered. Vivienne. The sound of her name on his lips felt like a vow. Lily returned with the towels and water, and Vivienne worked quickly, cleaning the wound as best she could, her hands steady even though her heart was racing. She had no idea if what she was doing would help or harm, but she had to try. The poison needs to be drawn out, Nikolai said through gritted teeth. Fire. You need to burn it out. She stared at him. That will kill you. I am already dying. This way, I might survive. Vivienne's hands trembled for the first time. She had treated burns before, had seen the damage fire could do to human flesh. But she had never deliberately caused that kind of pain. Do it, he said, his voice stronger now, commanding. Please, Vivienne. For them. She looked at the twins again. Made her second impossible choice of the night. Lily, go to your room. Now. But Mummy. Now, sweetheart. Please. Her daughter disappeared, reluctant but obedient. Vivienne retrieved a lighter from the kitchen drawer, held the blade of a knife over the flame until it glowed red, and returned to Nikolai's side. Her hands were shaking openly now. I am sorry, she whispered. Do not be. You are saving my life. She pressed the burning blade against the blackened wound. His scream tore through the apartment, raw and agonized, his body convulsing as the smell of burning flesh filled the air. Vivienne fought to hold the knife steady, tears streaming down her face, her stomach turning, every healer's instinct screaming that she was torturing him. But she did not stop. When she finally pulled the blade away, the black veins had receded slightly, the poison retreating from the heat. Nikolai's breathing came in ragged gasps, his skin slick with sweat, but his eyes when they opened were clearer. Again, he gasped. 3 more times. The poison runs deep. She wanted to say no. Wanted to tell him she could not do this, could not hurt him like this again. But she looked at his face, saw the trust there, the strange connection forming between them in this moment of agony and healing. And she burned the poison out of him, 3 more times, each scream cutting her deeper than any blade. When it was finally over, when the wound began to close with that unnatural vampire healing, Nikolai reached up and caught her hand. His fingers laced through hers, blood and ash and something sacred between them. Thank you, he breathed. And Vivienne realized she was still holding his hand. Realized she did not want to let go. Dawn broke soft and gray through the apartment windows, and Vivienne woke on the floor beside the couch where she had finally collapsed from exhaustion. Her neck ached from the awkward angle, her scrubs were stiff with dried blood, and for a moment she thought it had all been a nightmare. Then she heard the sound of breathing that was too slow, too controlled to be human. She sat up quickly, her nurse instincts flaring, and found Nikolai awake, sitting upright with both twins cradled against his chest. His wound had closed completely, leaving only an angry red scar across his ribs. In the pale morning light, he looked different. Still devastating, but softer somehow. Almost ordinary, if you ignored the otherworldly perfection of his features. You should be resting, she said quietly, standing and brushing off her scrubs. I have rested enough. They were hungry. He gestured to the twins, who were making small suckling sounds against his shirt. I do not suppose you have formula for infants? The domesticity of the question almost made her laugh. The vampire king asking about baby formula in her tiny apartment while covered in yesterday's blood. I might have some left from when Lily was small. Let me check. She moved to the kitchen, acutely aware that she had let a vampire into her home, that he was still here, that every survival instinct should be screaming at her to call someone, do something, protect her daughter. But when she glanced back at him, at the way he held those babies with such careful tenderness, fear felt very far away. She found an old can of formula in the back of the cupboard, still sealed, and set about preparing bottles while trying to ignore how surreal this was. Heating water. Measuring powder. Normal things. While a creature she had only heard about in whispered warnings sat on her couch feeding his children. You need to leave, she said finally, not looking at him. As soon as you are strong enough. This was one night. That is all I can give you." Silence stretched between them. "I understand," Nikolai said quietly. "You have already given far more than I had any right to ask." She brought him the bottles, showed him how to test the temperature on his wrist, watched as he fed the twins with surprising competence for someone who looked like he had been carved from ice and midnight. The babies drank greedily, their small hands grasping at his fingers. "What are their names?" she asked despite herself. "Elara and Demon." His voice softened when he said it. Their mother chose the names before she. He did not finish. Did not need to. "I am sorry for your loss. And I for yours." His eyes met hers, and she realized he could probably smell it on her, the grief that clung to her like perfume. The ring you wear on a chain around your neck. The sadness in your daughter's eyes when she speaks of bedtime stories. You understand what it means to lose someone. Vivienne's hand went automatically to the chain beneath her scrubs, where Daniel's wedding ring hung next to her own. "You do not get to do that. You do not get to see into my life just because I helped you. You are right. Forgive me." But his gaze did not waver. "I only meant that I recognize a fellow survivor. Someone who keeps moving because stopping means drowning." The accuracy of it stole her breath. She turned away, busying herself with cleaning up the medical supplies, the bloody towels, the evidence of last night's impossible choice. "You can stay until nightfall. Then you need to go. I have a daughter to protect, a life that does not include vampires or danger or any of this." "Of course." His tone was formal now, distant. "I would never put your child at risk." But even as she said it, even as he agreed, Vivienne felt something tightening in her chest. Not fear. Something worse. Regret. Lily woke an hour later and immediately ran to the living room, her eyes lighting up when she saw the babies. "Mummy, they are so tiny. Can I hold one? Please, please, please?" Vivienne started to say no, to maintain the boundaries she was desperately trying to rebuild, but Nikolai spoke first. "If your mother permits it, and you are very careful." Vivienne found herself nodding, unable to deny her daughter this simple joy, and watched as Nikolai gently placed Elara in Lily's small arms, showing her how to support the baby's head. "She is so pretty," Lily whispered, completely enchanted. "What is her name?" "Elara. And her brother is Demon. Like a prince and princess?" "Exactly like that." Lily beamed, and Vivienne's heart cracked a little wider. This was exactly what she had been afraid of. Connection. The beginning of caring. She made breakfast, simple toast and eggs, and was surprised when Nikolai accepted a plate. "I thought vampires only drank blood. We can eat human food. It simply does not sustain us." He took a small bite, and something almost like pleasure crossed his face. "But I have not tasted anything like this in years. When you are king, people do not make you toast in small kitchens. Everything is formal. Cold. This is normal? Precious." The word hung between them, loaded with meaning neither wanted to examine. They ate in awkward silence, Lily chattering about school and her friends, completely oblivious to the tension, and Vivienne found herself stealing glances at Nikolai. At the way he listened to her daughter with genuine interest. The way he smiled, small and hesitant, when Lily made a joke. The way he did not look like a monster at all, but rather like a tired father trying to hold his world together. Dangerous thoughts. After breakfast, Vivienne insisted on checking his wound again. He lifted his shirt without argument, and she tried to ignore the defined muscle beneath pale skin, the way his body had already healed what should have been fatal. "It is remarkable," she murmured, fingers hovering over the scar. "I have never seen anything heal this fast." the benefits of immortality. But there was no pride in his voice. Though sometimes I think mortality would be easier. An ending. A finish line. You do not mean that. Do I not? His eyes found hers, and they were storm gray now in the daylight, the crimson faded. I have lived 372 years, Vivienne. I have seen empires rise and fall. Watched everyone I ever cared about turn to dust. And now I am raising children who will outlive civilizations while I teach them to hide what they are, to never trust, to never hope for anything beyond survival. Tell me what part of that sounds easier than rest. The rawness in his confession made her chest ache. Those babies, she said softly. They are what makes it worth it. Every hard day. Every moment of fear. I know you know that. His hand covered hers where it rested against his skin. How did you become so wise? I am not wise. I am just a woman who has been broken enough times to know that living is the hardest thing we do. And the most important. They stayed like that, her hand on his chest, his covering hers, until Lily called out asking if she could give the babies a bath, and the spell broke. Vivienne pulled away, her cheeks flushing. You should rest more. You lost a lot of blood. I should leave. You said nightfall. I will not overstay your mercy. I did not say you had to leave this second. But you want me to. He stood, towering over her in the small living room. You are afraid. Not of me hurting you, but of something else. I can see it. You do not know anything about what I am afraid of. I know that you have not let anyone close since your husband died. I know that you wear his ring like armor. I know that last night, when you held my hand while burning poison from my body, you felt something you did not expect to feel. And it terrified you. Vivienne's breath caught. Stop. Why? Because I am right. Because you are a stranger. Because you are a vampire. Because in a few hours you will walk out that door and I will never see you again, and none of this will matter. And if I do not want to walk away? The question hung in the air between them, impossible and tempting and utterly terrifying. You do not have a choice, Vivienne whispered. Neither of us do. The pounding on the door came just after noon. Vivienne froze in the middle of folding laundry, her heart leaping into her throat. Nikolai was on his feet instantly, the twins gathered in his arms, his entire body shifting into something predatory and protective. Vivienne Hartley? A male voice called through the door. This is building security. We need to speak with you about a disturbance reported last night. Her eyes met Nikolai's. Disturbance. The screams. Someone must have heard when she burned the poison out, must have called it in. You need to hide, she hissed. Where? My bedroom. Now. And keep the babies quiet. He moved silently, impossibly fast, disappearing down the hallway with the twins. Vivienne took a breath, smoothed her hair, and opened the door with what she hoped was a calm expression. Two men stood in the hallway. One wore a security uniform. The other wore an expensive suit and an expression that made her skin crawl. Miss Hartley, the suited man said, his smile not reaching his eyes. I am Victor Kane, representing the Council for Supernatural Affairs. We received reports of screaming and the smell of burning flesh coming from your apartment last night. Mind if we come in? Every instinct screamed no. But refusing would only make them suspicious. Of course. Though I assure you, it was just a small kitchen accident. I burned myself on the stove while cooking dinner. Embarrassing, really. She stepped aside, and they entered, their eyes scanning the apartment with professional efficiency. The security guard looked uncomfortable. Victor looked hungry. A kitchen accident. Victor walked slowly through the living room, his gaze lingering on the couch where bloodstains still marked the cushions despite her attempts to clean them. That must have been quite severe to produce such sounds. I am a nurse. I have a low pain tolerance when it comes to my own injuries. She forced a laugh. Occupational irony. And you live here alone? Just you and your daughter? Yes. No overnight guests. No visitors who might have been injured? Vivienne's pulse hammered. No. Just me and Lily. Victor moved toward the hallway. Toward her bedroom where Nikolai was hiding. Do you mind if I use your bathroom? Actually, I do mind. My daughter is not feeling well and she is resting. I would prefer not to disturb her. It was a weak excuse, and they both knew it. Victor turned to face her fully, and she saw something shift in his eyes. Recognition. Certainty. Ms. Hartley, I am going to be very direct with you. We have intelligence suggesting that Nikolai Thorne, the Vampire King, was wounded in an attack last night approximately 2 blocks from your building. We have been tracking his blood trail, and it leads directly to your door. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to something dangerous. If you are harboring him, you are committing treason against the human-vampire accords. That carries a penalty of imprisonment or death. So I will ask you one more time. Is there anyone else in this apartment? Fear flooded through her, cold and sharp. But beneath it, something else rose. Something fierce and protective and utterly reckless. No, she said firmly. There is no one here but me and my daughter. And unless you have a warrant, I am going to have to ask you to leave. Victor's eyes narrowed. You are making a very dangerous mistake. The only mistake I see is 2 men harassing a single mother in her home without cause or evidence. Should I call the police? Or perhaps a lawyer? The standoff stretched, tension crackling in the air. Finally, Victor stepped back, his smile returning, cold and threatening. Very well. But know this, Ms. Hartley. We will be watching. And when we find him, and we will find him, anyone who helped him will face consequences. I suggest you think very carefully about where your loyalties lie. They left, and Vivienne locked the door behind them with shaking hands. Nikolai emerged from the bedroom moments later, his face grim. You should have given me up. Probably. They will be watching now. Waiting for me to leave. If they catch me here, they will arrest you. Take Lily. Destroy your life. I know. Then why? His voice was raw with confusion and something that sounded like anguish. Why would you risk everything for someone you do not even know? Vivienne turned to face him, and the truth spilled out before she could stop it. Because when I looked at you dying in that alley, holding your children, I saw my husband. I saw the night he begged me to save him and I could not. I saw every patient I have lost, every person I could not help. And I cannot do it again. I cannot watch someone die when I have the power to save them, even if it costs me everything. Even if it makes no sense. Even if you are a vampire and I am human and this is impossible. I just cannot. Tears streaked down her face, and she did not bother wiping them away. Nikolai crossed the space between them in 2 strides and did something that shocked them both. He pulled her into his arms. She stiffened, then slowly, inevitably, melted against him. He was cold, his body temperature far below human normal, but his embrace was gentle. Safe. Real. I am sorry, he whispered against her hair. I am so sorry you had to carry that grief alone. They stood like that, 2 broken people holding each other up, while Lily played with the twins in the next room and the world outside became impossibly dangerous. When they finally pulled apart, everything had changed. "I cannot leave now," Nikolai said. "Not with them watching. If I try, they will follow, and they will come back here to interrogate you further. So we are trapped. Together." "Yes." Vivienne laughed, the sound edged with hysteria. "How long?" "A few days at least. Until I can arrange safe transport. I have allies who can help, but it will take time to contact them without being traced." "Days. In my tiny apartment. With a vampire king and twin babies. If you want me to turn myself in." "No." The word came out sharper than she intended. "No. We figure this out. Together." The word felt like a promise. "Now I have to pause and ask you something that has been burning in my mind." Vivienne just risked everything, her freedom, her daughter's safety, her entire life to protect a man she barely knows. Have you ever protected someone even when the world told you it was wrong? Have you ever chosen your heart over logic? I truly want to know what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and while you are there, tell me where in the world you are watching from. Seriously, I love knowing that our vampire love stories family spans continents. And if you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button right now, because what happens next, the moment these two finally stop running from what they are feeling, will leave you absolutely wrecked in the best possible way. The first night of forced proximity was awkward in ways Vivienne had not anticipated. Where does a vampire king sleep? The question felt absurd, but it was real. Her apartment had 2 bedrooms, one for her, one for Lily. The couch was still stained with his blood. And somehow, discussing sleeping arrangements with an immortal creature who had lived through centuries felt more intimate than anything she had done since Daniel died. "I do not actually sleep much," Nikolai said, sensing her discomfort as they stood in the living room after putting Lily and the twins to bed. "I can remain alert through the night. Keep watch." "For what? Victor's people? For anything that might threaten you." His eyes were serious. "You put yourself in danger for me. The least I can do is ensure you rest safely." The protectiveness in his voice made something warm unfold in her chest. "You need to recover too. Healing takes energy, even for vampires." "How do you know that?" Vivienne shrugged. "I read. Medical journals have published studies on supernatural physiology. After the accords were signed and vampires came out of hiding, some of you volunteered for research." Interest flickered across his face. "You studied us?" "I study anything that might help me save lives. Species does not matter when someone is dying." She moved to the linen closet, pulling out blankets and pillows. "You can take my bed. I will sleep on the couch." "Absolutely not." It was not a request. "You are still healing, and I am not about to let a patient sleep on a blood-stained couch while I take the comfortable bed. That goes against every oath I ever took." They argued for another 10 minutes, stubborn meeting stubborn, until finally compromising. Vivienne would take the bed. Nikolai would sit in the chair beside it, keeping watch. It was absurd and overly protective, and she should have argued more. But she did not. Lying in bed with a vampire sitting 6 feet away should have been terrifying. Instead, Vivienne felt safer than she had in 3 years. She could hear his breathing, slow and measured. Could feel his presence like a shield between her and the world. "Nikolai," she whispered into the darkness. "Yes. Tell me about their mother. If you want to." Silence stretched so long she thought he would not answer. Then his voice came, soft and raw with old grief. "Isadora was human. A librarian, actually. I met her in a rare bookshop in Prague, arguing with the owner about a first edition Byron. She was fierce and brilliant and completely unafraid of me, even after she learned what I was. He paused. The council forbade our union. Said it was dangerous, that human and vampire could not produce viable offspring, that it would weaken my position as king. I defied them. Married her in secret. And for 5 years, I knew what it meant to be happy. Vivienne's throat tightened. What happened? She wanted children. I told her it was impossible, that our kinds could not mix that way. But she was stubborn. A soft laugh, edged with pain. She found an ancient ritual, a forbidden magic that could allow conception. It worked. But the pregnancy, it was too much for her human body. The twins drained her life force as they grew. Every healer I brought told me the same thing. Save her or save them. Not both. Oh, Nikolai. She chose them. Made me promise that if it came down to it, I would let her go and keep them safe. I tried to find another way. Spent fortunes, threatened ancient witches, begged powers I had scorned for centuries. Nothing worked. His voice broke. She died 3 minutes after they were born. Held them once. Told me she loved me. And then she was gone. Tears slid down Vivienne's cheeks in the darkness. I am so sorry. I blamed the twins for months. I knew it was wrong, knew they were innocent, but every time I looked at them I saw her dying. It was not until the first time Alara smiled at me that I realized Isadora was still here. In their eyes. Their expressions. The way Demon grips my finger like he is holding on to the world. He took a shaking breath. They are all I have left of her. And I almost got them killed because I was too proud to ask for help, too convinced that a king shows no weakness. You were ambushed. That was not your fault. Was it not? I have enemies because of choices I made. Wars I waged. Power I took. And my children pay the price for my past. Vivienne sat up, looking at his silhouette in the chair. Your children are alive because you protected them. Because you fought off 6 assassins while poisoned and still managed to keep them safe. Because you loved them enough to stumble through streets you hated, into the arms of strangers, risking everything on the chance that someone might help. That is not weakness, Nikolai. That is the strongest thing a parent can do. Is it? His eyes found hers in the darkness, reflecting what little light came through the window. Or is it selfishness? Keeping them in a world that will always see them as abominations, half-breeds that belong nowhere? It is love. And love is never selfish. He stood then, crossed to the bed, and sat on the edge. Close enough that she could see the anguish written across his perfect features. How do you do it? How do you keep going after losing your husband? How do you raise Lily alone and still find the strength to save dying strangers in Halle's? Vivienne's hand found his without thinking. I do not have a choice. Lily needs me. And some days that is enough. Some days it is barely enough. But I wake up, and I put one foot in front of the other, and I try to be the mother she deserves even when I feel like I am drowning. You are extraordinary. I am tired. There is a difference. No. His fingers tightened around hers. You are the most extraordinary person I have met in 3 centuries. And I have met queens and warriors and women who could bring empires to their knees. But none of them had your courage. Your compassion. Your fierce, reckless heart that looks at a dying monster and sees someone worth saving. You are not a monster. You do not know what I have done. The blood on my hands. The lives I have taken. I know what I see right now. A father who loves his children. A man carrying grief that would crush most people. Someone who says thank you and means it. That is who you are to me. Nikolai lifted her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles that felt like a benediction. I do not deserve your faith. Maybe not. But you have it anyway. They sat like that, hands intertwined, the space between them charged with something neither was ready to name. Finally, Nikolai stood, releasing her hand with visible reluctance. You should sleep. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges. Will you rest too? I will try. He returned to the chair, and Vivienne lay back down, but sleep was a long time coming. Because she could still feel the cold press of his lips against her skin. Could still hear the vulnerability in his voice when he spoke of his dead wife and the children he was terrified of failing. And she realized with creeping certainty that she was falling for him. Falling for a vampire king who would leave as soon as he could. Falling despite every logical reason not to. Falling because her heart had forgotten how to do anything else. The second day brought an unexpected gift, normalcy. Or at least, the closest thing to normalcy possible when hiding a vampire king and his infant twins from supernatural authorities while confined to a small apartment. Vivienne called in sick to work, something she never did, and the lie tasted bitter. But she could hardly explain that she was harboring a fugitive who drank blood and had lived through the French Revolution. Lily, delighted to have her mother home, appointed herself the twins' official caretaker. She sang to them, helped change their diapers with surprising competence for a 6-year-old, and narrated everything she did in that earnest, chattering way children have. This is Alara, and she is a princess, and she has magic in her fingers, see how she grabs. And Demon is a prince, but he cries more, so maybe he is a sensitive prince, which is good because boys should be allowed to have feelings, that is what Mummy says. Nikolai watched her with something close to wonder. She is remarkable. You have raised her well. I try. Some days I have no idea what I am doing. That is called being a parent. He smiled, and it transformed his face. Made him look younger, less burdened. Isadora used to say that anyone who claims to know what they are doing with children is either lying or delusional. They were sitting on the floor, the twins on a blanket between them, Lily building block towers nearby. Domestic. Peaceful. Dangerous in its sweetness. Can I ask you something? Vivienne said. Anything. Do you regret it? Defying the council to be with her? Nikolai did not hesitate. Not for a single moment. Loving Isadora was the best decision I ever made. Losing her was the worst pain I have ever endured. But I would do it all again, exactly the same, just to have those 5 years. Just to know what it felt like to be truly seen by someone. That is beautiful. It is also foolish. Love makes us reckless. Or brave. His eyes met hers, and the air between them shifted. Is there a difference? Before she could answer, Demon started crying, the hungry wail of an infant who had no patience. Nikolai reached for him automatically, but Vivienne stopped him. Let me. You have been holding them non-stop. Take a break. She lifted Demon into her arms, and muscle memory kicked in. The gentle bounce. The soft shushing. The way she cradled his small body against her chest. It had been years since Lily was this tiny, but her body remembered. Demon quieted almost immediately, his dark eyes staring up at her with infant solemnity. You are a natural, Nikolai said softly. I had practice. Daniel and I, we used to dream about having more. A whole house full of noise and chaos. She smiled sadly. But then he got sick, and there was not time. I am sorry you lost that dream. Me too. They prepared bottles together, Nikolai surprisingly domestic as he measured formula and tested temperature. They took turns feeding the twins, and somewhere in the middle of it, Vivienne started laughing. "What?" Nikolai asked, Ilara cradled in the crook of his arm. "This. You are the vampire king, ruler of the oldest vampire bloodline in existence. And you are sitting on my floor in borrowed sweatpants feeding a baby. It is just the absurdity of it." A grin tugged at his mouth. "I assure you, this is not how I imagined spending my week either." "What were you doing before the ambush?" "Attending a summit with the northern clans. Very formal. Very tedious. A great deal of posturing and political maneuvering. I was on my way home when they attacked." "Do you like it? Being king?" He considered the question seriously. "I like protecting my people. I like knowing that the laws I enforce keep them safe. But the power, the politics, the constant need to appear infallible? No. I do not like that. Sometimes I think about what it would be like to just exist, without the weight of a crown. That sounds lonely." "It is. Especially now." Isadora was the only person I could be myself with. The only one who saw Nikolai, not the king. After she died, I forgot there was a difference. Vivienne shifted demon to her shoulder for burping. "And now? Now I am sitting on a floor in borrowed sweatpants, feeding my daughter, talking to a human nurse who treats me like I am just a man. And I am remembering." The weight of his gaze made her breath catch. "Nikolai. I know we cannot. I know this is temporary and impossible, and in a few days I will leave and you will go back to your life and I will return to mine. I know all of that." He set the bottle down, his attention fully on her now. "But I need you to know that these 2 days, hiding in your apartment, arguing about sleeping arrangements and learning to make formula, have been the most peaceful I have felt since Isadora died. You have given me something I thought I lost. Hope. And I will never forget that." Tears pricked Vivienne's eyes. "You are making this very hard." "Making what hard?" "Letting you go when the time comes." "Then do not." The words were barely a whisper. "Come with me. You and Lily. I can protect you, give you a life without fear, without struggling to make ends meet, without working yourself to exhaustion." For one wild, reckless moment, Vivienne let herself imagine it. A life with Nikolai. Raising the twins alongside Lily. Safety. Belonging. Love. Then reality crashed back in. I cannot uproot Lily's entire existence for a man I have known 2 days. I cannot take her into a world of vampires and politics and danger. That would be selfish. And staying here while Victor's people watch her every move is not dangerous? That is different. How? How is it different? Because this is my world. My life. I have built something here, and I cannot just abandon it for— She stopped herself. For what? Say it. For someone who will outlive me by centuries. For a future that has an expiration date the moment my human heart stops beating. For a fantasy that cannot possibly work. The words hung between them, brutal and true. Nikolai's expression shuddered. You are right. Of course you are right. I apologize. I should not have suggested it. He stood, gathering the twins with movements that were suddenly formal, distant. The warmth between them evaporated like morning frost. Vivienne wanted to take it back. Wanted to say she was scared, not certain. That she was protecting her heart because it had already been shattered once and she was not sure she would survive it happening again. But she said nothing. And the silence between them turned cold. The call came on the third night. Nikolai's phone, a sleek device he had kept powered off to avoid tracking, buzzed once. He stared at it like it was a snake. "It is my second in command," he said quietly. "He has arranged safe transport. A car will arrive in 1 hour to take us to a secure location." 1 hour. Vivienne's stomach dropped. "That is good. You will be safe." "Yes." They stood in the kitchen, the apartment dark except for one small lamp. Lily and the twins were asleep. The world outside was silent. And everything Vivienne had been trying not to feel crashed over her like a wave. "I should pack your things," she said, her voice too bright. "The twins will need clean clothes, bottles for the journey." "Vivienne. And I have some of Lily's old blankets that might work. They are softer than the ones you have been using." "Vivienne, stop." She turned to face him, and the anguish in his eyes nearly broke her. "I do not want to go." "You have to. You said yourself, staying puts everyone in danger." "I know what I said. And I know what I should do. But what I want," he crossed the space between them in 2 strides, his hands framing her face. "What I want is to stay here. In this tiny apartment with the leaking faucet and the broken heater. I want to wake up to Lily singing off key and you burning toast. I want to figure out how to be a father with you beside me showing me how. I want impossible things, Vivienne. And it is your fault for making me believe they might be possible." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Do not do this. Do not make this harder than it already is. Why not? Why should we make this easy? Why should we pretend that these 3 days did not change everything? Because change does not matter if there is no future. There is always a future if we are brave enough to reach for it. I am not brave. I am terrified." The words tore out of her. "I am terrified that if I let myself love you, I will lose you. Either you will realize I am just an ordinary human woman with nothing special to offer a king, or I will grow old while you stay frozen in time, or your enemies will come for me and Lily and we will pay the price for your crown. Every scenario ends in loss, Nikolai. Every single one. And I cannot survive that again. I cannot bury another person I love. So you would rather bury your heart now? Alive? Choose loneliness because it feels safer than risk. Yes." She shoved at his chest, anger and fear and grief all tangling together. "Yes, I would rather be lonely than destroyed. At least lonely I can manage. At least lonely does not leave my daughter without a mother. You think I do not understand that fear?" His voice rose to match hers. "You think I am not terrified? I watched my wife die, Vivienne. Held her as the light left her eyes. Swore I would never let anyone that close again because the pain of losing her nearly destroyed me. And then you appeared, this stubborn, compassionate, impossible woman, and you made me feel things I had buried. You made me hope. And yes, I am terrified. But I am more terrified of walking away and spending the next 3 centuries wondering what if. This is not fair. Life is not fair. Love is not fair. But it is still worth fighting for. I did not ask to fall in love with you." The admission ripped out of her, raw and devastating. Nikolai went still. "What did you say?" Vivienne pressed her hands to her face, shoulders shaking. "I did not ask for this. I did not want this. I was fine being alone. I was fine with my small, safe life. And then you showed up, bleeding and desperate and holding those babies, and you ruined everything. Because now I know what it feels like to have you here. To hear you laugh. To watch you with the twins. To fall asleep knowing you are 6 feet away keeping watch. And in 1 hour you are going to walk out that door and I am going to have to figure out how to be fine again, except I do not know if I can. I do not know if I am strong enough to lose someone twice. She was sobbing now, 3 years of grief and fear and loneliness pouring out in ugly, heaving gasps. Nikolai pulled her into his arms, and she collapsed against him. I am sorry, he whispered into her hair. I am so sorry. You are right. I should not have pushed. I should not have made you feel things you did not want to feel. I hate you, she choked out against his chest. I know. I hate that you made me care. I know. I hate that you are leaving. I know, darling. I know. They sank to the floor together, Vivienne crying like her heart was shattering, Nikolai holding her like she was the most precious thing in existence. Come with me, he said finally, desperately. Please, Vivienne. I know it is fast. I know it is terrifying. But come with me. Let me prove that this can work. Let me show you that loving me does not mean losing everything. She pulled back, looking at him through tears. And what happens when your counsel finds out you are involved with another human? When they decide Lily and I are liabilities? When your enemies use us to hurt you? I will protect you. With everything I am, I will keep you safe. You could not keep Isadora safe. The moment the words left her mouth, she wished she could take them back. Nikolai's face went blank. Empty. He released her and stood, putting distance between them like she had struck him. You are right, he said, his voice hollow. I could not save her. And I would likely fail you too. Better you realize that now. Nikolai, I did not mean. Yes, you did. And you are not wrong. He moved to the living room, began gathering the twins' things with mechanical precision. The car will be here soon. I should be ready. Please, I am sorry, I was angry and scared and I did not mean to. It is fine, Vivienne. You were simply being honest. That is more than I deserved. The formality in his tone was worse than anger. He had shut down completely, retreated behind the walls of the king, and she did not know how to reach him. She had broken something between them. And she had no idea how to fix it. Okay, I need to hear from you right now because my heart is in pieces and I know yours is too. Have you ever said something in anger that you desperately wished you could take back? Have you ever pushed away the person you loved because you were terrified of being hurt? This is the moment where everything hangs in the balance. Vivienne and Nikolai are destroying each other trying to protect themselves, and I need to know, do you think love is worth the risk? Tell me in the comments, and please, tell me where you are watching from because knowing our community spans the globe makes these heartbreaking moments feel a little less lonely. And if you have not joined our family yet, subscribe right now, because what happens in the next part, the choice Vivienne makes, the words Nikolai finally says, it will restore your faith that true love really can conquer fear. Do not miss it. The car arrived exactly on time. Vivienne watched from the window as Nikolai carried the twins down the stairs, moving with that supernatural speed that reminded her he was never truly hers to keep. He did not look back. Did not say goodbye to Lily, who was mercifully still asleep. Did not give Vivienne a final glance. He simply left. And the apartment felt like a tomb. She stood at the window for 20 minutes after the car disappeared, her reflection staring back at her in the glass. Hollow. Empty. Exactly what she had been before he arrived. Safe. The word tasted like ash. Lily found her there at dawn, still standing, still staring at nothing. Mummy? Where did Nikolai go? Where are the babies? Vivienne's voice came out broken. They had to leave, sweetheart. But he did not say goodbye. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Did I do something wrong? Did he not like me? No, baby, no. Vivienne gathered her daughter close. He liked you very much. He had to go home. Are we going to see him again? The question splintered something in Vivienne's chest. I do not think so. Lily cried then, the pure uncomplicated grief of a child who did not understand why people you love have to leave. And Vivienne held her, trying to comfort her daughter while her own heart bled out. She called in sick again. Moved through the apartment like a ghost. Made breakfast no one ate. Stared at the couch where he had sat, the chair where he had kept watch, the kitchen where they had argued and laughed and pretended that 3 days could be enough. Her phone rang at noon. An unknown number. Her hands shook as she answered. Vivienne. Nikolai's voice, rough and wrecked. I need to say something, and I need you to let me finish before you respond. Okay. You were right. About everything. It is too fast. Too dangerous. Too impossible. Loving me would mean appending your entire life, putting Lily at risk, facing enemies and politics in a world you never asked to be part of. He paused, and she heard him take a shaking breath. But you were also wrong. Because I could not save Isadora, but not because I was not strong enough or devoted enough. I could not save her because she made a choice. She chose our children over her own life, and no amount of power or love could change that. It was her choice, not my failure. Tears streamed down Vivienne's face. And I cannot promise you forever, because you are human and I am not, and yes, one day I will have to watch you grow old. But Vivienne, I would rather have 30 years with you, 20 years, even 10, than centuries without you. I would rather have every precious, limited moment than an eternity of wondering what we could have been. Nikolai. I love you. I know it is too soon. I know it is impossible. But I love you. I love the way you burn poison out of dying strangers because you cannot stand to let anyone suffer. I love how you argue with me about sleeping arrangements. I love the fierce way you protect your daughter and the gentle way you held mine. I love that you see me, not the king, not the monster, just me. And if you give me a chance, I will spend every day proving that loving me is not a death sentence. It is a life sentence. A full, beautiful, complicated life. Together. Vivienne closed her eyes, let his words wash over her, let herself feel everything she had been running from. Where are you? She whispered. 10 minutes away. I told the driver to circle the block. I have been circling for 6 hours, trying to find the courage to call you. A laugh bubbled up through her tears. You fought off 6 assassins, but you were afraid to call me? You are far more terrifying than assassins, darling. Come back. Silence. Then, what? Come back, Nikolai. Come upstairs. Let's figure this out. Together. She heard the catch in his breath. Are you certain? No. I am terrified. But I am more terrified of spending the rest of my life wondering what if. So come back. Please. I am already running. Vivienne opened the door before he could knock. Nikolai stood in the hallway, the twins in his arms, his eyes searching her face with desperate hope. They stared at each other across the threshold, the same way they had 3 nights ago when she had made the choice to save him. Except this time, she was not saving a dying stranger. She was choosing to love an impossible man. Hi, she said, her voice trembling. Hi. You came back. You asked me to. Lily appeared behind Vivienne, her face lighting up like sunrise. Nikolai. You came back. I knew you would. Mummy said you had to go home, but I knew you would come back because people who love each other always find their way back. That is what happens in stories. Out of the mouths of babes. Nikolai's eyes never left Vivienne's. Your daughter is very wise. She gets that from her father. He stepped forward, crossing the threshold, and Vivienne realized this was it. The moment everything changed. The moment she stopped hiding behind fear and reached for something real. I do not know how this works, she said quietly. The logistics. Where we live. How we protect the children. What we tell people. I do not have answers. Neither do I. But we will figure it out. Your council will not approve. Then I will fight them. I have fought bigger battles for less important reasons. I am going to grow old. And I will love every silver hair and wrinkle and year I get with you. I am still scared. So am I. He shifted the twins, reached out with one hand to cup her face. But I am here anyway. Because you are worth being scared for. Vivienne leaned into his touch, letting herself feel the cold press of his palm, the gentleness despite his strength. I love you. I know it is crazy and fast and completely illogical, but I love you. Say it again. I love you, Nikolai Thorne. He closed the distance between them and kissed her. It was soft and desperate and tasted like tears and hope. It was a promise and a beginning and the death of fear. Vivienne's hands fisted in his shirt, holding him close, and he made a sound low in his throat that was pure relief. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Lily was staring at them with wide eyes. Does this mean Nikolai is staying? Vivienne looked at him, saw her future reflected in his ancient eyes. Saw complications and danger and a love that would defy every rule. Yes, baby. He is staying. Forever? Nikolai smiled, and it was devastating. As close to forever as we can get. The next weeks were not easy. Nikolai reached out to his council, faced their fury and threats, and made his position clear. He would rule, but on his terms. He would protect his people, but he would also love who he chose. And if they could not accept that he had found happiness with a human woman, then they could find another king. They blustered. They threatened. They demanded. And Nikolai stood firm. Eventually, faced with losing their most powerful ruler, they conceded. Barely. With conditions and restrictions and barely concealed disapproval. But they conceded. Victor and his people watched Vivienne's apartment for another week before finally pulling surveillance. They had no proof. No evidence. Just suspicions that led nowhere. Nikolai moved carefully, visiting only at night, using routes that avoided detection. It was not perfect. It was not safe. But it was real. Vivienne reduced her hours at the clinic, spending more time home with Lily and helping Nikolai navigate fatherhood. They fumbled through diaper changes and midnight feedings and the exhausting beautiful chaos of raising 3 children between them. Lily appointed herself big sister to the twins and took her role with utmost seriousness, singing them songs and reading picture books and explaining important things like why cookies are essential to happiness. And slowly, carefully, Vivienne and Nikolai built something neither had thought possible. A family. 3 months after that first night in the alley, Nikolai took Vivienne to the roof of her building just after sunset. The city spread out below them, lights beginning to twinkle in the gathering darkness. I have something for you, he said, pulling a small box from his pocket. Vivienne's heart stuttered. Nikolai. It is not what you think. Not yet. I know we need time. He opened the box, revealing a delicate silver bracelet with a small charm. A tiny heart with a crown above it. This is a protection charm. Old magic, very powerful. As long as you wear it, I will know if you are in danger. I can find you anywhere." She stared at it, this gift that was both beautiful and practical, so perfectly him. "And this," he continued, his voice softer now, "is a promise. That I am here. That I am not going anywhere. That every day I choose you, and I will keep choosing you for as long as you will have me." Vivienne let him fasten it around her wrist, the metal warm against her skin. "I choose you too," she whispered. "Every day. Every moment. Even when it is hard. Especially when it is hard." He pulled her close, and they stood on that roof as the sun set completely and the stars began to appear, a human woman and a vampire king who had found something more powerful than fear. They had found each other. 6 months later, Nikolai proposed properly. On one knee in her tiny kitchen while she was burning toast and the twins were crying and Lily was singing off key. It was chaotic and imperfect and absolutely perfect. Vivienne said yes before he finished asking. They married in a small ceremony with only their closest friends. Lily served as flower girl and held Alara while Demon slept through the entire thing in Nikolai's arms. It was unconventional and strange and the most beautiful day of Vivienne's life. Their life together was not easy. There were battles with the council. Threats from enemies who saw Vivienne as a weakness to exploit. Hard conversations about mortality and the future and what would happen when she grew old while Nikolai stayed frozen. But there was also laughter. Midnight feedings turned into conversations about philosophy and books and dreams. Dance parties in the living room with all 3 children. Quiet moments on the couch after everyone was asleep, just the 2 of them, hands intertwined, hearts beating in sync. Vivienne learned that love was not about perfect circumstances or guaranteed futures. It was about choosing someone every day, even when it was terrifying. Especially when it was terrifying. And Nikolai learned that strength was not about control or invincibility. It was about vulnerability. About letting someone see every broken piece and trusting them not to cut themselves on the edges. Years later, when someone asked Vivienne if she regretted the risk, if she wished she had chosen safety over the vampire king who appeared in an alley bleeding and desperate, she simply smiled. "My daughter shouted for me to heal a dying man and his babies," she said. "And in saving him, he saved me. How could I ever regret that? Because sometimes the most dangerous choice is the one that leads to the most beautiful life. And sometimes, love is worth every impossible, terrifying, extraordinary risk." So here we are at the end of this journey, and I have to tell you, my heart is so full right now. Vivienne and Nikolai found their way through fear and loss and impossible circumstances to choose love. They chose each other. And I truly hope their story reminded you that second chances are real, that love can find us in the darkest alleys, and that sometimes the scariest choice is the one that changes everything for the better. Now before you go, I need to ask you one final question. What moment in this story hit you the hardest? Was it when Vivienne first saved Nikolai? When they confessed their love? When everything shattered and they had to choose whether to fight for each other? Drop a comment right now and tell me. And please, tell me where in the world you are watching from. Are you in New York or London or Tokyo or somewhere I have never heard of? I love knowing that our stories connect people across continents and time zones. And listen, if this story touched your heart, if you felt every moment right alongside these characters, then you absolutely need to subscribe right now and join our family. We are the fastest growing vampire love stories community on YouTube, and we have so many incredible stories planned for you. Stories that will make you laugh and cry and believe in love all over again. You are special to us. Every single one of you. And we do not want you to miss what is coming next. So hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and get ready. Because the next story, oh, you are not ready for the next story. But I promise you, you will not want to miss it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in love. Thank you for being part of this beautiful, broken, healing community. Until next time, keep choosing love. Keep taking risks. Keep believing that your impossible happy ending is out there, waiting for you to be brave enough to reach for it.